Hello, I'm Jennifer Little with the NODCC, and I'm here with Steve and Orly Rumberg. Their son, Olam, is the inspiration behind Olam's Piggybank grant program. This program provides grants twice a year for assistive devices and technologies for people with disorders of the corpus callosum. Steve, Orly, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about Olam. Tell us about him as a boy, his personality, his favorite things, and then, of course, his diagnosis.
So Olam is a 13-year-old boy. He's extremely happy. Not much gets him upset. He's very social. He loves people. He loves being around people. Some of his favorite things are he and I go to baseball games. We're doing all of the baseball stadiums, trying to get all 30 of them done. He loves eating French fries at the baseball games. He loves macaroni and cheese. Playing ball. He will play ball incessantly forever. He loves riding on trains and planes and just traveling in general as well. So he's really, and everybody loves him. Everybody loves Olam because he's so happy and social all the time. His diagnosis is that he's got partial agenesis of the corpus callosum. So part of it's formed, part of it is not. Don't know if that's better or worse because you don't know where those connections are going or where they're made.
Awesome, thank you. What kind of challenges does Olam live with because of his diagnosis?
Well, Olam is definitely delayed in all his developmental milestones, and most of those relate to extremely low muscle tone. So he didn't sit up independently till he was 18 months, didn't crawl till 24 months, didn't really start walking until he was 4, and his walker. Now he's down with only some braces in his shoes. But the low muscle tone has also resulted in a lack of speech, which is one of the hardest things, for us to accept that he wouldn't speak. But there are a lot of alternatives. We introduced the iPad when he was 5, which is pretty young, but we wanted to introduce it early. We've made a lot of modifications over the years. He uses a program called Touch Chat. And while he effectively communicates without the iPad to those who know him, it's very important that he be able to communicate with the general population. So we are constantly making changes to his program, adding concepts. This year we added his social page so he can interact with kids who say hello to him. So that was very important to us. The iPad plays a big part in his life. But the low muscle tone also makes it difficult for him to feed himself. For a very long time, we were feeding him. And part of the problem was he couldn't hold a fork or a spoon very well. He would just dump it over. And we tried all sorts of different things. And then finally, Steve found what we called the Robo Spoon, which was made for Parkinson patients. And it's a self-leveling spoon. And after using that and breaking 2 of them, Olam can now use a regular spoon because he had that experience in how to hold it. Mm-hmm. So, the mobility, the communication, and the eating were 3 really big challenges that took a long time to resolve.
Yeah. And how did you find out about some of this stuff? I mean, I know you guys have been really great about, obviously everybody knows about iPads, but just in terms of software or, the spoon and the things that have helped him, how did you find out about them?
Well, through a variety of ways. The software program, we asked the therapists. Do we use Touch Chat? Do we use Proloquo to Go? Do we use something else? And after communication, we decided to use Touch Chat. And over the years, we've actually worked with the school system and consultants to figure out what was the best use of that program. Steve researched the RoboSpoon, mm-hmm. So he found that on his own. The walker and the mobility progression, Olam has had aggressive physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. But, at the end of the day, even though we have a lot of people advising us, we've learned we have to go with our gut as parents.
And there's some other things that he uses that we just see a need, and you go online and find what can help with that. We needed to find someplace for him to sleep, so we got a tent to go over his mattress. He doesn't regulate heat very well, so we were able to find a cooling vest. So it's just searching things and finding out what we know that he needs.
Yeah. And how has that, impacted him, changed his life, but also your lives as a family?
Well, the easiest one to answer there is the feeding. I mean, try feeding a 13-year-old kid every meal of every day. And it just doesn't make dinner or lunchtimes enjoyable for the family. So having him be able to feed himself is just incredible. You know, it took a while to get there, but it's much easier.
And the communication, you know, we're constantly working on it, but that's going to be his critical lifeline. Even though we don't anticipate that Olam will ever be by himself, you know, it's a safety issue. We need him to communicate with the others around him. Last year, I noticed that kids were saying hi to him in the morning while we were waiting for his teacher to get him, and he wasn't responding. And I thought we need to come up with a way that he can interact with the kids. So we added buttons on the iPad where he could you know, interact with kids and have a conversation with kids. You know, we made an effort to actually teach him how to say hi and high five kids who came in. But, you know, communication is really the most important thing. Luckily, he wants to communicate and he understands. So, you know, those are two harder aspects of communication, but the communication is key. But carrying it around an iPad isn't ideal. So hopefully eventually he'll use a phone. But the iPad took the place of a 7-pound instrument that was around before the iPads existed. So, you know, the technology, we're really grateful. We live at a time when technology makes this a lot easier for us.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing some of those, because I know some people don't have any idea where to start, what they may need, and I think it's a good reference just for you guys to share your story about, you know, caregivers or just researching on your own, and then just observing and noticing the things that happen. And the NODCC website has a list of all the eligible items or non-eligible items for the grant. And so if you're interested in pursuing that, please look up those you know, eligible pieces and get ideas from the people around you. And then lastly, I just want you guys to share, you know, why was it important for you to initiate this grant program for families?
Well, obviously he uses a lot of different devices, and we know that we're very fortunate to be able to get those for him. But a lot of people can't, either they don't know about them or they can't afford to get some of these things. You know, that robo spoon's $200, not the easiest of things to be able to afford. So we, knowing that we could do it, but a lot of other people can't, we wanted to give back to the DCC community who, through the NODCC, has helped us so much that we thought this was a really important thing to do to help others who have a need.
It's been great. It's been great. And I've loved to see all of the different devices and things and smiling faces of the kids of all ages who have received those grants. So grant submissions for Olam's Piggybank are accepted again twice a year, May and October. All the information can be found on the NODCC website, nodcc.org/grants. We encourage you to apply and take advantage of this generous grant program. Thank you very much, Steve and Orly, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.